Hello, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Hot Glow Summer. I'm so excited to be with everyone today. I'm so excited to share this information with everyone about how to live our most glowiest, most fantastic, delicious lives. What we're going to do to drop into the space today is just have a little bit of dance break. If it's in your pleasure to get up and get moving, I encourage that. Use this time to increase your pleasure by way more than 1%. We'll talk about that a little bit later today as well, the microdose approach. But take this time to just enhance your beingness in some small way. Maybe that's getting a beverage, maybe that's throwing on some lipstick or some jewelry or something that smells delightful. And we'll just get to have some musical deliciousness as people filter in, and then we'll kick it off for today. So excited. So here we go.
Take my body to the moon. Watch me glow up. Watch me glow up. Take my feel like I do. Feel like I do. Watch me glow up. Whisper in your ear, telling you all my secrets, everything I feel. My fingertips, they trace you like a piece of art. Painting in the dark with you.
I love me a good dance break to start the mood off right. Oh, but give me just a second, because that got my blood going. Bren, say hi in the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Let's get some siblinghood going here. How did you hear about this event? Why are you here today? I want to know about you. You want to know about me. Let's get intimate. Oh, so delightful. Oh my God, Pussy Queen, Jenny Braxton in the house. There's a lot of Pussy Queens in here. There's a lot of royal humans in here. Can I just tell you what? But that doesn't surprise me in the least, because that's who I attract. Thought leaders, visionaries, game changers, way showers. So if you're on this screen, I know that you are a royal being who is here to change the world. You don't hang out with me unless you are. And I'm so grateful to have you here with me, to be spending this time with me today, babes. My pussy tends to do that. It will suck people in. It doesn't like to let go. People comment on its grip effect. All of the puns intended, metaphorically, literally, here we are. I'm just gonna take a minute to ground myself, flying high, and the anticipation of this event and just my own life, current life of this morning and the early afternoon. Blessings. Thank you, friends. So I actually was a way more prepared hoe than I sometimes am. And I did make myself an agenda because I didn't want to forget to share anything with folks today. So you might see me glancing at my agenda from time to time. But I do want to see people are here from Germany, the Bronx, London, oh my God, Seattle, Washington. It just fucking elates me that there are humans here from every walk of life, because truly what I want to create in this world is a collective glow up effect where we all take each other higher. So pleased again, and really have this intention for all of us here in this container to be in community with each other, right? I would love for you to leave here today having seen somebody on the screen that you want to reach out to, being like, oh my God, that person, also myself included, obviously, but like, I want to know more about that person. That person intrigues me. I want to be friends with that person. So share in the chat. Let us see you. If you're comfortable being off camera, I invite you to be off camera and be here as we're moving through the event today. Share your insights, your thoughts, your aha moments, your takeaways. Auntie Julia, I love that you just lift up. That's amazing. And so just so pleased to create that aspect for each other too, that we get to leave here being stronger, not just because of your time spent with me and the information that I'm going to download to you, but because of your time spent here with each other and the connections that you're forming in community. And I'm going to like glance at the chat every once in a while. I'll come back through it after the recording to look for anything. So also if you have questions or comments during it, feel free to leave that there. And again, I just invite you all to be very communicative with each other in that space, and to leave here with those bonds as well. And it's kind of a new way of framing that for me. And it's always been my intention to create incredible siblinghood. And I say siblinghood very specifically. My spaces are not a gendered space. They're for neither women nor men. They're for humans, right? So I've known for a long time that one of my gifts is creating powerful siblinghood between people, but I haven't ever named it so specifically as to invite all of you into that energy that I'm already creating in the kind of backside of things, and to be contributive in that sense, and to really let that be an intention. And so speaking of intentions, I would love for all of you to tell me what you're excited for today. What are your intentions in this space for today? What led you to be here? Especially if this is your first time in Marissa Land, what drew you in? If you're a longtime glow ho, shout that out. I have some beloved clients on this call, friends, siblings, colleagues. So let us know how you know me. That's always like a really fun way of getting to know people too. Is like, how do you know the common person? Like, you have all come to my party. Welcome to my party. If you didn't know, you have come to my hot Gleaux Summer party. And when you go to a party and you don't know other people, one of the easiest ways that you can start to make your connection is to say, hey, how do you know the host? Who invited you here, right? And then that gives us that bridge of commonality. So I invite you to share, how do you all know me? Why are you here? Let's get this party started. Let's make some vibrant connections with each other today. So good. Okay, so who the fuck am I? Almost all of you know me, but not everybody. And also, I'm always wanting you, when you come into my spaces, because I think that to the people who are really attracted to hang out with me are people who are also creators and facilitators. And so there's an invitation to here for you to watch how I run this event and see the elements that I layer in, so as that you can borrow that for your spaces as well. And or one of the ways of learning that I love the best is for you to see how you wouldn't want to do it. So as you're in this space, and if you are a facilitator of spaces, think about, oh my God, I love how Marissa does this and I don't like how she does that. But one of the things that I want to share with you is like, I'm going to introduce myself every day. And part of me could feel so uncomfortable doing that, right? Because it's like, these bitches have known me forever. They don't need to know who I am. But I also know that this is a masterclass that can serve as a touchstone for somebody and in the future to find me. And if they've never encountered me, it does do well to introduce myself. And though there's some of you who I know on the call today don't totally know me all that well, right? So I'm going to take that time to do that. And for all of you who are facilitators, like, permission to take up space and tell the people what they know already, whether that's your name or your mission or the thing you're teaching, because we also are like, get to be broken records and we all love to hear the same great song over and over again. And can I tell you what, the song of Marissa is like a top 10 song. It's like one of those songs that you just never forget. They live in perpetuity. And yes, I'm an egotistical bitch, so prepare for a lot of narcissism today. I teach that. I'm going to share that in just a little bit too. So a little bit of the song of me. Who am I? I am King Daddy Rainbow Stallion. And what does that even mean? And I'm a huge fan of using personas, of using titles as a way to channel your energy, embody your energy, call upon energy, let people see sides of yourself. And so King Daddy Rainbow Stallion is the part of me that stands for unbridled freedom and authentic self-expression. The part of me that will gallop as hard and as long as I need to, that is going to be feisty and fierce and untamable in the pursuit of our liberation. And I'm like willing to have every single human that I need to on my back to carry you the distance with me. Like, Rainbow Stallion is here for it. I've got a big ass fucking cock. King Cobra is one of my other personas. I didn't think to talk about King Cobra today, but I really well should. Because King Cobra has an 8-foot cock and I'm not afraid to use it. Rainbow Stallion has a big old cock. It's a big old persona that just is here to carry us the distance when it comes to saying you get the permission to be authentically self-expressed, however that means to you. That might be a very quiet self-expression, right? Or it might be a very boisterous self-expression, but however you want to be authentically self-expressed, that is here who Rainbow Stallion is here to defend and blaze a path for. You've also heard me call myself the legendary glow ho. You are at hot glow summer. Play on words, right? Hot girl summer, hot human summer. So the legendary glow ho piece of me represents the pleasure piece, the pleasure queen, right? King Daddy is got that king crown. Well, the legendary glow ho wears the queen crown, and she is the queen of pussy and pleasure, and here to shine the brightest promissory light out there for you to seek your pleasure and to be in pleasure and to be a pleasure seeker from a way that perhaps we don't necessarily look at it, right? Obviously, a deep pleasure through our sexuality. Ho is there for a reason. I ain't here in lingerie for no reason. But really more to be a pleasure seeker and pleasure seeker in a very full kind of way. And I'm going to share that with you today too. Today is going to be a lot about mindset and pleasure and how to live life differently, because part of what I'm here to do with all of you is to talk about living life, doing sex, life, and business in a different way than we have before, shifting those paradigms. So GlowHo is here to shift the paradigm of how we experience pleasure, how we interact with pleasure, how we use pleasure in our lives as an energetic fuel. And then I'm the agent of sunshine. And I developed the agent of sunshine persona in my late 20s. Rainbow Stallion came into beingness in my early 20s. These are not personas I invented overnight. They're personas that I've been working with for many, many years, energies I've been working with for many years. And the agent of sunshine came in when I was working in a very toxic work environment. Everyone was real depressed, real sad, not happy to be there. And I decided to see how I could shine one little ray of light into a very dark and dismal space, right? And become an agent of sunshine in that space. And really what that's evolved to now, many years later, is to see the agent of sunshine stands for the mindset teacher in me, the person who knows that your thoughts create your reality and you are able to shift your state of being. I don't like to ask, how are you? I think that's such a ineffective way to get the information we're actually seeking of the person. So I like to say, how's the weather inside? You know, and so agent of sunshine is here to be like, what is the weather conditions? And you can change the conditions of your interior weather if you want to. You don't have to, but that option is available to you. So the agent of sunshine is here to remind you of that. And as you get to know me and spend more time with me, I know that there are other personas that will reveal themselves to you, to me. It's beautiful work that I think is so incredible. And then lastly, though, is that all of their personas are me. And I am Marissa, punto final, right? Marissa, first name famous. Just Marissa. And in fact, I didn't change my Zoom name, but I'm going to do that right now. And I invite all of you, if you are so inclined, to change your Zoom names to who do you want to be this hot glow summer, right? If you got to wave your magic wand, you could wave your magic 8-foot cock. Who would you be this summer, right? What's your glowiest self? And then go ahead and change your name to that. Also, I'm going to put in my pronouns. And this is another thing that I really encourage in my space, is that while we are a human space, every human gets to identify how they like. And you can help us honor and acknowledge your authentic self best if you give us a little indicator of what pronouns are your preferred ones. So if you put those in your chat name too, then that can help us use them correctly. And that's something that I'm always fostering in my spaces as well too. So today we have a very, what would be presumed feminine front-facing group, right? But we just can't make those assumptions at all. And like King Daddy and King Cobra are like, don't forget about my big cock hanging right out over here. Oh my gosh. So that's who I am. Just Marissa, first name famous. Not only do I work with the energies of personas, but I also work with the energies of mantras. So if you've been in my world for a minute, then you've heard my mantra that I really started using last summer, which is I set audacious goals. I think delusional thoughts of possibility, that I achieve iconic results. And that mantra has served me to the nth of the universe and back again, to the outer reaches of the universe and back again. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then the other mantra that I'm using now that has like come into beingness in just like the last 8 weeks is Marissa, first name famous, Kanye confidence, flying high in Ho Force One. And if you don't know, Ho Force One is my private jet. Instead of Air Force One, it's Ho Force One. So y'all, let's buy some tickets to ride on Ho Force One. Play with the biggest, most audacious energy that you have. I set audacious goals. Being Marissa, first name famous, is a fairly fucking audacious goal. Right? And these goals, they're not meant necessarily for tangible achievement, although often yes, but they are meant more so than ever to be able to pull and push, and however you need to, yourself into the biggest version of yourself, because that is how we all benefit the world best, is when we shine our most glowiest, most self-expressed pieces of ourselves out to the universe and let the world witness them and be lifted by your glow, because quite literally that kind of authentic self-expression takes everybody higher. I want to share a little bit of how I even got to be here in this place, because I think too there's such a beautiful dance between coaching and mentorship. I've seen a lot of posts out there recently around this. It's something that I've been pondering the last few years when I was doing my coaching certification. In fact, my mentor Jaya spoke in 2020 to us, to our cohort, of what it meant to be a mentor. And I think that there's something really powerful about the mentorship aspect, which is the sharing of story and seeing how someone just did it. Because like I said, from both directions, whether you want to follow in their footsteps or take a different pathway, that is so much more informing, I think, often than saying, here is a prescribed pathway, right? To say, here's my experience, here's what I've learned, and now you get to go and use that to collapse your time frame. And that's what's so incredible to me about mentorship, is that we collapse time frames and we quantum leap using the years often that another human has spent acquiring this kind of synthesized download of an experience and then handing it to you. So in terms of doing that, just a little bit of my own story, I think is so valuable in that way for all of you. And I can really look back at 2019 as a year that demarcated. It's kind of like a before pussy and after pussy, to be blunt, or to use that kind of language around it. And that is the year that I started to invest in, or maybe even before Marissa, after Marissa, right? Like that is the year that I started to invest in myself, my personal growth and transformation, from a very intentional space and from a very desire-led kind of space, because I was no stranger to the realm of personal growth and transformation. You should see my bookshelves, they're full. This is the shit I eat for breakfast. I'd rather eat personal growth and transformation for breakfast than almost anything else. So I was not new to it, but yet 2019 is a year that I came with a different energy to that process. And really the kind of three main mentors that I found that year that really shifted my life were Mama Gina, who wrote the book Pussy, A Reclamation, Regina Thomashauer. I did her live programming, and her body of work irrevocably shifted me onto the path of pleasure as the fuel with which to power my life, right? The golden thread that runs through everything. At the same time that year, I also did my first work with a mindset coach. And I've been very open about this. So this is this is like not my first disclosure, first time sharing this, but I've experienced suicidal ideation at multiple times throughout my life. And I was really at this place of a dark season. And I had a goal to buy land, but it was like, why should I even fucking buy land if I can't live in the land of my own mind? Again, the interior landscape metaphor, right? And so I decided, instead of spending $10,000 or using that $10,000 that I had saved as a deposit towards some land, I used it to work with a mindset coach and learned so deeply how my thoughts created my reality and how much I was in control of being able to shift that experience for myself. And obviously the talk of depression and suicidal ideation, that is a deeply nuanced conversation. So I'm not glossing over it here, saying it's just so simple as changing your thought, right? But at the same time, that really shifted me and drew me to a much different understanding of what I could create for myself using my sweet little noggin here, or what role my sweet little noggin was playing and how I was perceiving the world around me and how I was creating the world around me. And then the other thing that I did that year is I invested in a year-long community. And I invested in that community 3 years in total until it wasn't available any longer. Otherwise, I still would be enrolled, because having the experience of having a community that held me, a facilitator that held me, it was like, I loved how the facilitator talked about that program. It was called Getting Free / Begin Again in its last iteration. But she talked about it being the sound, like music to the backdrop of your life. That it could just be like, you know how you put on the radio to have something on in the background, the classical station, because it steadies your mind, or the binaural beats if you're a junkie for personal growth and transformation like me, or Taylor Swift, or whomever it is that provides the soundtrack to the backdrop of your life, right? Like letting her program be that. And I've talked so many times about snail pace and the escargatoire, and that comes directly from that program, because she gave us the permission to be snails together, to be slow together. And so this kind of trifecta of work that I did, of finding pussy, finding my brain, finding community, shifted everything for me. It gave me the tools to create my own glow up. And it's not overnight, obviously, because here we are, it's 2022. But here we are and it's 2022. And what I've done in these last 3 years, like I'll talk about what I've accomplished in the business in the last 18 months, because technically I sold my first coaching package in December of 2020. But there was 2019 and 2020 leading up into it, right? But what I've accomplished is just fucking phenomenal. $1 million in sales, multiple 6 figures in cash. I just was like totaling up where I've traveled to, like last year, Paris, Mexico, New York, Atlanta, LA, San Francisco. This year, I'm just like, on Friday, I'm about to go on another swing across the United States. I get to go see the fucking beautiful Amanda Rose, who's on this call in person in Portland. And I brag, I get to go to Sex Geek Summer Camp. Like all of these things that I get to do because in 2019, I decided that I was worthy of investing in myself. That I decided to funnel my time, my energy, and my money into me and into my glow. Because what I've known throughout every suicidal ideation, anything, every season of my life is that, and glowing does not mean not being depressed. Let me be clear. Glowing means authentic self-expression. And what I've known to be true from the very beginning is that in authentic self-expression, we take each other higher. The things that I used to think people wouldn't hire me for, my suicidality, smoking weed, the authentic pieces of me, it's what's drawn people to me harder than anything, to be honest, right? And it has been the thing that people reflect to me takes them higher, that because I shared that piece, just on a call in a container I was in last week, or that I'm in, that I was sharing in last week rather, I shared some vulnerable stuff about the both and. Because there's the both and. I've done $1 million in sales, but not $1 million has come out of cash has come into my business. Because not all of those sales, the packages didn't all complete themselves, right? So it's like the sale is there, but not all the cash came in. Part of the cash came in, but then when the client doesn't complete the package, you haven't gotten the full 50K. You haven't gotten the full 10K. You haven't gotten the full whatever K it was that the package sold, right? So sharing that both and kind of that cringy space that it can be like, how do you claim this both and? Because both are totally fucking true. The sale is there and the cash is what it is. But I got a message from one of the participants afterwards thanking me for that authentic self-expression. And that had actually, she was thanking me for my leadership. And here I am in that container being like, oh, I don't want to say this thing. I don't want to admit this thing about my business. Right? So what I know to be true is that authentic self-expression takes you higher. It takes everyone else higher around you, right? And so what I did in 2019 was I invested in myself. I invested in the support that I needed, the knowledge, the tools, the mentorship, the siblinghood to be authentically self-expressed. And what's the backside of that is what all of you guys get to see me bragging about, because I brag, I'm a bragging fucking queen. More, we'll talk about that in a minute too, about the fantastic life I live of freedom, because I brag, I have a lot of fucking freedom. I have freedom in the ways that we societally think of freedom, in terms of freedom in my bank account, freedom of movement, but I have freedom in much deeper ways, because the freedom that I have of permission to be me, to do the things I want to do, to not be hindered by what might they say, what might they think. My eyes just got the chat. All I want is freedom. Bitches, that's all I want for every single human on earth. That's all I want for you. That is literally the reason why I continue to breathe this air, is so that I can create liberation for all of us. That is the people, we always talk in entrepreneurship, what is your why? My why is our collective liberation. And I know there's so much more that I could share about my journey. There's so much more I want to share about my journey. And I just got caught up in my why and the intensity of feeling that in my body, of just like, wow, my heart just felt like this tsunami of emotion just roll over it. And my notes say like, what are my intention for the event? And literally reading from my notes, you walk away freer. Everything I do is for liberation. So I'll tell you more of my story tomorrow. I want to talk more about liberation. And the ways that you can find it here with me, with yourself, without in the world. So good. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me see here. Give me just a second. All right, pinning myself. I'm not the techiest of people too. So if all y'all are watching the replay, bless you for hanging with me in any view changes that I might be making or any of those things along the way. Okay, so my intention for this event, our collective liberation. And like I just finished saying, the real glow up to me is when you feel like you get to be the most authentically expressed version of you, with choice, with financial choice, but more so with the emotional capacity of choice. When you have the capacity to manage your own mind, to manage your own body and regulate your nervous system so that you can bring yourself back to neutrality, because choice is achieved from a neutral space. When we are triggered and when we're elated, right? Like when we're either side of the spectrum, it's very hard to make to have a wider way of choices available to us. Our brain gets very narrow in those far end spectrums. But when you're in a spectrum, or when you're hanging out in the neutral part of the spectrum, then you have a lot of choice. And choice to me is freedom. When you have that capacity, right, to move in any direction you want. And my intention for this event is to be super transparent with you about my journey, because I want to do life with you, right? I want to be in this. One of the ways I always set containers with my clients is say, I expect you to be a messy human and I expect me to be a messy human, but I want us to be humans together, right? So that is my intention, is for us to be here human together. And that's why I was saying, please share in the chat, let yourself be seen here. Your faces are all so beautiful. I can't tell you how many people have told me how much they notice me. I thought I was invisible on a Zoom screen, even being on camera, right? Like I'd be there smoking my blunt, thinking nobody saw me. Turns out everybody was seeing me, right? Like we love to see you. And so let yourself be seen, even when you think you're not being seen, right? And a lot of people, I mean, these are people who have come into my world, because part of what we're here to talk about this week in this time together is business, the cash money, honey. So let yourself be seen on this screen, and also let us feel you, let us be in community together. That is my deep intention. But also, I have a coach on this call, one of my coaches, one of my support staff, who gave me the assignment to be 7 times bigger. You might think, yo, Glowho, you're a big bitch. Why would anyone need to give you that assignment? But, we all have the spaces where we still try and play small. So I'm so grateful. I have an intention, Empress Sarzi. Also, bitches, go hire this woman. I'm going to tell you how many times you should hire me, but there are so many humans on this screen you should hire as well. So Empress Sarzi, this one's for you. I have the intention to be 7 times bigger, which is part of why I shared with you guys that piece that I just shared right now about my business and the million in sales and the not million in cash, right? Like I want to be big in all of the ways. I want to be big in my transparency with you. I want to be big in my glow with you, so you feel the potential and possibility flow through my pussy and into your genitals. But I also want you to feel all of me and see all of me. If I had been really with it, I would have let you see the little mess I cleaned up in the background that I like, the couple pieces of clothing. That would have been real transparency. My house doesn't always look this tidy, by the way. And I would love to hear, like, what is your intention for this time with me? More than how do you know me? What's exciting you, right? But I want to hear, what is your intention for your glow up? You signed up for this event, and it's not for nothing. Even if your intention is just to spend a little bit more time with me, right? Can't blame you. But behind that, then I'd invite you to ask yourself a little bit deeper, like, what is your intention for this summer? What is your intention for your glow up? If you got to think about what your hot glow summer would be, what would it be? And in full transparency, babes, I've been promoting this event for like 2 weeks, right? Planning the curriculum, thinking about what I'm teaching you. And I haven't entirely been embodying it because I've been in this moment of been like, I'm about to go traveling for 7 straight weeks. And 17 of those days have no breaks. And how am I going to get through it? I'm already exhausted. And how am I going to manage my energy? And I like on the surface, no, it's all going to be good. But then behind that, I was just hanging out in a lot of this like energy. And then I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like full transparency, I'm teaching people how to have a hot glow summer. I am not sitting in the energy of what is my intention of a hot glow summer. I'm sitting in the energy of I've created a hot glow summer for myself and I'm worried about it. So I share that to be transparent with you. I also share that to say like, so it drew me back in to say, wait, if I could have a hot glow summer, what would it be? What is my intention? What is my wildest dreams? What do I think is not possible for me? I don't think it's possible to have a billionaire boyfriend by the end of the summer who takes me on a private jet to Greece. But why the fuck isn't it? Now I do, but like last week I wasn't thinking that. But yesterday when I was like, drop into hot glow summer energy, what the fuck is your intention? My intention is to be flown to Greece on a private jet, right? Like, and this will come into the mantras of delusional thoughts of possibility, audacious goals. So like what I want you to do right now is sit with yourself, sit with your genitals, sit with your juice and say, what is my intention for my hot glow summer? Share that in the chat, let each other see each other. Please upright each other. So what is an upright to your sibling? An upright is an acknowledgement of what they've said and a cheering on of them. Right? So when you see someone share in the chat something that is a desire of theirs, a brag of theirs, something that they want to achieve, you say, you go, pal. Sister, if they're using she, her pronouns, maybe, but I like to practice the like non-gendered thing. So you go, royal being, you go, your highness. Witnessing you in that desire. These are all ways that we can upright each other in. Honestly, it was so wonderful for me to be taught how to be in support of my siblings. I didn't know how to necessarily use that language before. Mama Gina took me and was like, here is how you tell your sibling that they're going to fly higher. So shall it be, or something even better. Thank you for raising our collective vibration with your gratitude. Thank you for adding to the appreciation bank of the world. And when we're acknowledged in these offerings that we're making to ourselves, but we're making to the collective, positive validation goes a long way for every single being in this world. So receiving that upright from your sibling is so great. I couldn't help but take that tangent. The chat's a beautiful fucking thing. Wanted to give that little bit of extra learning and support to you all about how to be in container with each other in this space. Okay, so what are we doing here today? You're like, haven't we gotten to that already? But what we're doing here is that I'm sharing through my energy, through my transmission, through my stories, and through some concrete tools too, how to be the creator of your experience. It was so great. I have this calendar I look like that I look at every day. It has inspirational messages, and the one for today is you are the source of your experience. So I want to share with you today how to be the powerful source of the experience you want to have. What hot glow summer do you want to have? You get to be the source of it, and using this time together to inform you of ways that you can do that even more. Because glowing up your life, again, this is a whole human experience. So I'm sharing today about some kind of general life stuff. Tomorrow, I'm going to be sharing about the more physical, tangible part of being in pleasure and the sex stuff. And then the last day of our event, I'm going to bring it all together with kind of this leadership, business, entrepreneurship, because not all of us are entrepreneurs, but all of us are visionaries. You don't have to have your own business to be a visionary and to be changing the world. You can be changing corporate America from the inside out, right? So I really want to talk about how are we using our kind of career time. I don't love saying it that way either. I haven't found quite the verbiage that I love the most around it, but how can we glow up that space of our life or that chunk of our life? The bedroom, the boardroom, the overall collective, so that we can go out there, be more authentically, audaciously self-expressed, and take ourselves higher in that process, take everyone higher around us, right? And lead people to the promised land that we would like to show them. Because again, as visionaries, as way showers, as change makers, as thought leaders, many of us are imagining a new paradigm where we're teaching sex education in a different way. We're teaching joy in a different way. We're teaching how to be in relationship to spirituality in a different way, how to be in the dimensions in a different way. This is the 3D, right? But there are those of us who are the portals and bridges to the 5D who are bringing us through there. So the way that you use that time doesn't have to necessarily be in an entrepreneurial way, but I know we're all here to change the world and to lead people into a different way of interacting with each other, for the purpose of love too, like freedom and then love. That's always the essence. And so that's what we're covering today. And in that realm, we're creating the collective experience here today, right? We're here for you to learn from me, but what we're doing is creating 3 days of collective energy and glow up that I know will impact and have ripple effects through each of your intimate partners and families' lives and the communities at large that we operate in. And then today at the end of the call, I'm going to share what is the most delicious and juiciest thing that is on my heart right now that I just am thinking about 24/7. It's my new offering that is going to be beginning in July. So I'm going to share about that with you. And then I'm going to hang out for a Q&A smoke session. And then I'm going to smoke a golden blunt with you all because I have a really big brag to share and want to celebrate it with you. So I rolled a 24 karat gold blunt. This is, again, your first time in my world. Hello, replay watchers. You'll know that the 24 karat golden blunt is one of my favorite ways to celebrate. And so it was apropos for today. So yeah, I'll hang out for that Q&A time, be here to spend some time just in humanness with you at the end of the call. And then we'll be back again tomorrow, same time, for more of this infusion. And one of the things that I want to talk about is that I am doing a giveaway during this event. So for people that come to all 3 days live and stay to the end, so I'll be measuring who those folks are at the end of the call is what I'm trying to say about that. You are entered into a drawing to win a free spot in my July program and one-on-one coaching with me in July. So that is a super juicy, delicious, I'm so fucking egotistical as to say, this is literally a life-changing prize you can win. All of you are fucking genius for being here. Let me applaud your geniusness for being here. And if you're on this call and saying, that is mine, fucking make it yours, right? Like there have been times where there's been those giveaways and I'm like, there's so many people signed up. There's no way I'm going to be the one, but I know in my heart, I'm that one. So if you feel that in your heart, like I am so here and so excited to give you that session in July. So that's the deal, is that you come every day live. You're here when I like kind of take that roll call at the end of the call. I'll put you in a drawing and I'm going to draw one name out. That person wins that spot. Also, though, not to penalize the folks that can't be here live or those of you who can't even come all 3 days live. You're here live today, but you might not be tomorrow, right? So the way that I'm doing the drawing for the replay is that every day during the event, I'm going to say some magical words. And at the conclusion of this event, there'll be the magical phrase. Those magical words will add up to a magical phrase. And you'll need to DM me that magical phrase. And anyone who DMs me that magical phrase gets entered into a drawing as well. So I'm going to draw 2 names. There's going to be the hat that has the people who came live, and then the hat of the people who sent me the magical phrase from the replay watchings. So basically, you're going to be here today. You'll hear the magical words from today for the replay. So if you can't come live tomorrow, watch tomorrow's replay. You got to watch the whole thing to find those magic words. And by the end of the 3 days, you'll have the sentence to DM me with. So I thought that was super fun. I was like, wait, we can't penalize the people that can't be there at my arbitrarily chosen 1 p.m. Eastern time on a Tuesday. And this is a really wonderful way too for all of you. Again, those of you who facilitate events, this is a way to engage people. Like there's 19 of us here right now. That's phenomenal. And I'm celebrating that. There's 72 people who showed up for or signed up for this event. Right? So when you have a ton of people who want to experience your work, who are indicating that have taken the time and energy to click through and put their name in, it's a really beautiful way to foster and acknowledge that and give them a way to have a platform with you. So these are just ways, again, why do you want to come and be in my land? Because I'm an awesome fucking business coach too. I'm always kind of giving these kinds of downloads for the both and of how to increase your visibility, bring people into your world, foster those relationships with people. So little class above the class is how I talk about it when I'm talking about how to facilitate while I'm facilitating. Thank you to my mentor, Jaya, for that term. Always giving the shout outs to the humans that have formed me. Mama Gina, Jaya, Melinda Alexander of Getting Free, many of you, and many of you on this very call right now, actually. So grateful for that. Okay, so I have covered that housekeeping piece. You know, one of the things that I really want you to take away, the overarching themes of today's, or this 3-day event, the arc of this 3-day event, is how to glow up doing life differently. You're going to hear me say a lot. I want to teach you how to do life, sex, and business differently. I think that I have a different way of approaching it than the way that we've been taught and conditioned by the society that we happen to live in here, right? And speaking of telling you my story, gosh, I could tell you my story from birth that would inform you so much of why I approach life differently. But I've just had the privilege of having been born and raised in non-traditional, very alternative environments. And for better or worse, having the universe facilitate me with a wide variety of life experiences that are outside of the norm and or on the range of perhaps the more challenging side. You know, they talk about the early childhood trauma assessment test, the ACEs test, and I'm a 10 out of 10 on ACEs. I've had all of those experiences, right? So, oops, I muted myself trying to make sure that my AirPods are still working. Being able to see how to do life differently comes because I've lived a different life from the very beginning. But really wanting to impart on you too, that if you want a different result in your life, if you want to see something happen different, not just do life differently from a philosophical perspective, but if you actually want to see a different tangible result come into your life, you have to take a different action than the one you've been taking. The same actions you're taking today will not create different results for you tomorrow. But how do you take a different action? Well, you need to have a different thought. Thoughts precede our actions. So in that way, how to do life differently, how to glow up is how to change your thoughts, the mindset piece. Another overarching theme of this is that you are the source of your experience. Again, mindset. You get to create everything you want. It's both liberating and it's also fully fucking frustrating. I'm here for that both and I will throw the goddamn tantrum with you. It doesn't quite seem fair that we're so radically self-responsible. I'd really like to blame that motherfucker over there. Who I'm pointing at is like the ashes of my dead father. Who has actually a hallowed place on my shelves over here, right? So like I'd love to say, excuse me, that other people create my reality. But I create my reality. I get to choose my thoughts. I get to choose how I perceive something. I'll go into that a little bit deeper, but you know, overarching themes of our time together, whether we're talking about sex, whether we're talking about life, whether we're talking about business, you are the source of your experience. The way to glow up is to do life differently. And audacious self-expression, again, an overarching theme. So I want you to ask yourself each day that you spend with me here, when we're talking about life, for instance, if I were to be audaciously self-expressed in my life, what would that look like? If I was to be audaciously self-expressed in the bedroom, in my sex life, what would that look like? If I were to be audaciously self-expressed in my business, what would that look like? The first business coach I hired, I invested well over $80,000 with them. The reason that I hired them, the thing that put them on my radar as, oh, I'm working with that person, is because they asked me that question. They phrased it differently, but they were like, what would your juiciest offer be? It's a very like, it's not that profound of a question even, right? But no one had ever like really had me sit down and consider, if I was creating from a place of joy, if there was nothing on the line, if I could wave my magic wand, what would my juiciest offer for business be? And so that invitation for you, if you had the capacity to be audaciously self-expressed. I say the word audacious because audacious, it's this beautiful connotation of pushing the limits, of saying I'm actually the thing that I would be afraid to do, like the thing that would almost be on the edge of where my shame barrier would say don't go there, right? When you have audacity, you have the bravery, the courage to be just a little bit extra. Audacity is 7 times energy, right? My coach giving me the assignment of that I already am. Fuck, I like declared it in December of 2021 for this year. My words were audacious icon. I'm playing with this audacity, but so I say, if you were to do business audaciously, what would you do in your business? What would you create in your life, in your bedroom, in your business? Coming from the place of audacious self-expression, if you were actually being the yummiest you, and there were no repercussions, you wouldn't lose anyone, you wouldn't hurt anyone, no one would hurt you, no one would judge you, it would come at 0 negative cost, what would you create in your life, sex, and business? That authentic self-expression. That's what I want you to think about during this time with me. And so how do I do life differently? The answer is very simple. And in this way, I'll be a broken record to you all day long. Mindset and pleasure. Oh, so simple. Yet not. Oh, so nuanced. And so mindset, I want to talk about how Marissa approaches mindset, because I do approach it a little bit differently, I think, and with a little bit of sassiness and irreverence, because that is my style too. I like to poke the bear a little bit. I also like to use humor as a deflection for the things that are really fucking painful, because I'd rather laugh than cry. Many times, to me, that energy is more productive in terms of keeping me forward towards I want to go. Whereas oftentimes I've seen that sometimes if I hang out, not with the crying, it's not about the aversion to crying, but that if I hang out too much, and for instance, speaking of my dearly departed dad, in the anger to him of how he traumatized myself and my siblings with his violence during our childhood, that doesn't move me forward as much, right? So when I talk about taking yourself from one mental state of being to another, it's not at the exclusion of feeling one. It's about recognizing which states keep you in a place that moves you forward to the things that you want to be doing in your life, that you want to be accomplishing, the energy you want to hang out in, right? I want to hang out with my body filled with the sensation of love more often than anger. So I'm not saying I won't ever feel anger. I don't say when I feel anger, I avoid it. I process it, I hold it. That's what all of the somatic tools I teach are for. But I also know that I have the capacity to change my interior landscape if I want to. And so in that way, when it comes to mindset, knowing, and this is a little bit different. So I'm gonna give you this example because sometimes we forget how powerful we are. And so I'm gonna use 2 powerful examples, exactly, like a little morbid rather, not powerful, morbid, dark examples. Somebody's house burns down. In the way of there, our thoughts create our reality. We could assume that that's the worst fucking thing to happen to somebody. What a tragedy. And person A comes home and their house is in ashes and they are devastated. Oh my God, my life is over. How will I move forward? Why have I been touched by such bad luck? What does the universe have against me? What did I do wrong? That's person A. Person B rolls into the same cul-de-sac out of town on vacation and finds their house in ashes and goes, oh, hallelujah. The good Lord has blessed me. I never liked that house. I've been wishing for 5 fucking years that I could light a match to it and collect an insurance payment. This is the answer to all of my prayers. Now I can take that money and I can go build my dream house in XYZ state, XY, whatever the thing is, right? But like the 2 people's houses burned down next to each other. One person's devastated, one person is elated. It is a point of view. The same circumstance happened, the house burned. The way you view the burning of the house creates a totally different experience for yourself. The other example, and what this teaches, right, is that your thoughts create your emotions. That's what I want you to understand from that. Your thoughts precede your emotions. Your emotions do not precede your thoughts. This is why it's so powerful to understand that you're like to work with your thoughts, your mindset, because we'll say we have these emotional states of being that prohibit us from being able to do things. Well, that's not just something that it's like a set in stone thing for you. You can really shift that by shifting your thoughts. Another way that really exemplifies that your thoughts create your feelings is death. Back in the olden days, prior to our current technology, someone died in the old country and you've immigrated to the new country, you're not going to know about their death for months. The time it takes for that letter to cross the ocean and get to you is a significant lapse of time. So the person dies in April, but you don't learn about it until August. You do not spend April to August sad about that death. You don't know about that death. When you get the letter and find out that your loved one has passed, you feel sad because you have a thought of their absence. The death doesn't create the sadness. Your thought about the death created the sadness. The death happened months ago. You had no thoughts about the death. You had no sadness. Now you have a thought about the death and there's sadness present. It's not the death itself, it's the thought about the death. So this is so, so powerful as to realize that you are the source of your experience with these thoughts. And when I teach about delusion, when I say I set audacious goals, I think delusional thoughts of possibility. This is where I say when I preach delusion and narcissism as my two like most often handed to you coaching tools. What I'm talking about delusion is thoughts of possibility. To be delusional in thinking what is capable for you. I want you to think about anytime you've achieved something in your life significant, and then think about 2 years prior to that, if you thought that that was available to you. Like in 2020, July of 2020, when I was suicidal with $0 in my bank account, there was no part of me that thought I'd be sitting here on May 31st, 2022, with a multiple six-figure business to tell you about, right? So delusional thoughts of possibility, it's like something that I didn't even think was possible was actually way more than possible. This is only an nth of what I can create. We've only just begun. So I want you to think delusional thoughts of possibility, like, oh, fuck, hot Gleaux Summer. What kind of delusion do I give myself permission to have? Because I guarantee you the person that limits you the most is you. Our sweet little asshole brains are such motherfuckers. And so they will pull the veil over you every time. And it's our job to be delusional. People would run horrified from an accusation of delusion. Right? But I'm here to say, embrace your delusion. Because it's not so fucking delusional, babes. What I can guarantee you is that the biggest version of yourself that you can dream of doesn't even begin to touch what you're capable of. So whatever you think is delusional for you, I'm more than sure is totally fucking achievable and actually doesn't even begin to touch the fullness of your capacity. What you are capable of is so much. So set that big, beautiful asshole brain of yours to set heights higher than high. Go watch yourself achieve them faster than you ever could have imagined and been like, fuck, I should have set a higher height. And I hear this time and time again from the high achievers around me, right? Like, oh, I set the goal. I smashed that goal. I should have set a higher goal now that I know how actually relatively easy that came to me. And it didn't come overnight. I can look at some of my desire lists from 2019 to have the business I have today. It didn't come in 2019. It didn't come in 2020, but here we are. And it's here. So, right, like delusional thoughts of possibility are not so delusion at all. And because of the nature of the way that our brain is so self-limiting, I think that we purposefully need to be delusional to go into that extreme a little bit, because even in that extreme, we're not touching into the depth of what we're actually able to create. The other piece that I talk about with the mindset is narcissism. Again, a term that would be like horrified if you applied that to me, a term we throw around with a lot of energy. I was in a narcissistic relationship, abusive relationship, right? I myself will say I was in a narcissistic abusive relationship, my last partner. So I'm not saying that in any kind of like dismissive kind of way. I'm saying that that word narcissism has a huge charge, but I think that, again, like so many things in patriarchy, we can fucking reclaim it. And we can change the energy of something and make it powerful and work for us. And what I mean about narcissism is radical self-love. You are your own best hype person, right? In this realm, especially class above the class moment, as facilitators who are trying to get humans to come into our work with us, you have to have the willingness to be a little bit narcissistic and say that you're the shit, that no one does it like you. And what I know as a human that has a desire list that includes $100,000 a year budget just to participate in all of your programs, is that all of you have fucking amazing work to offer to the world, right? Like I want to hire all of you. No one does the shit that you do the way that you do it. And who's going to go out there to the world and say that but for you? And I'm so grateful. I have a hype human on here, Empress Sarzi. So Empress Sarzi will go out to the world and tell people how amazing I am. But babes, like, let's not put all of that burden on sweet Empress Sarzi. Right? Like, be your own hype human, be a fucking narcissist. Go tell the world that no one does what you do the way that you do it. That is how, like, you know, it's just interesting. We use these terms, thought leader or visionary. Well, also narcissists. A thought leader and a visionary thinks that they are the only ones who have thought this way, or that you should follow them, right? Like there's a lot of narcissism that is involved in these things that we say we want to be, way showers, paradigm shifters. Inherently, when you call yourself a visionary, you're being narcissistic. So get down with it. Make love to that narcissism. Make love to yourself. Radical self-love is really what I'm talking about there. And being willing to claim that self-love in front of other people. In fact, that's almost the most radical part of it, because we can be in the closet self-loving all day long. That actually represents no danger. But when you radically love yourself in front of other people, they might judge you. They might reject you. They might get jealous of you. They might dislike you. They might think you're full of yourself. Right? But that doesn't fucking help anybody when we go love ourselves in private. So I want you to metaphorically or literally, if it's allowed and lawful, because I haven't created the like set a hoe free jail fund yet, but go fuck yourself in front of the world. Go make love to yourself in front of the world. Right? Self pleasure in front of the world. Let us see you in your ecstasy. Let me see you enamored of yourself. So really what I want you to walk away with today from the mindset piece of this is delusion and narcissism. And one of the perfect application tools of delusion and narcissism that you might not expect. And so I'm going to share this kind of in our hangout section, and there'll be opportunity for you to share one too, is the Mama Gina tool of the Trinity. The bragging, it's a combination of where you do a brag, a gratitude, and a desire all together. And Mama Gina doesn't teach this as a tool of delusion and narcissism, but I sure do. Because I think that bragging, exclaiming your greatness to the world, that's that hanging out in the narcissism category. Also, a future brag, bragging about something that hasn't been created yet, that's delusion. So this tool of the Trinity is such a beautiful tool that synthesizes both of these energies that I'm talking about. Gratitude's maybe not so much delusion, but gratitude is this beautiful radical love. And you're pouring it outwards, but when you pour gratitude outwards, you're actually pouring it inwards, because as one of my beautiful friends talks about it, gratitudes are adding to the appreciation bank of the whole world. When you share your gratitudes, money either appreciates or depreciates. So when you share gratitude out loud, you're giving appreciation to the bank of the world, right? Like this collective bank. And so in that way, like, because I withdraw from that collective bank, right? There's some narcissism even in a gratitude. I'm giving into the thing that gives back to me. And then desires, delusion, but also narcissism, what I want. Desires are not what the world wants. This is what I want. That's fucking narcissistic. When you think about it, it's like, it's all me, bitches. And your desires, when you're doing your desires as part of a Trinity, that's your shit. That's your narcissism. That's your self-love. That's you claiming what you want for you because you find it yummy and delicious, right? And it might be altruistic desires, but that still serves you from a selfish place. And delusion. I think that desires are this beautiful, again, from that energy of delusion and narcissism, and why this tool is a beautiful synthesis of all of those. Because desires are delusional too. They're saying, I don't have this thing and I want it. And who's to say that I'll even live another day, right? Like there's this delusion and looking forward thinking too, or being forward looking. So I love the Trinity. Like if you wanted to walk away today saying, Marissa taught me a tangible tool to be narcissistic and delusional. Use Mama Gina's Trinity tool to be delusional and narcissistic. I think it's a really fun and kind of unique application of that. Thanks to all of you who are participating in the chat. My brain can't follow that and my notes and connecting and sharing with all of you, but I just see it very alive over there. And I'm so grateful for all of you who are contributing your collective glow to it. Okay, so I said, how do I do life differently? Through mindset and pleasure. And so I've talked about the mindset. I want to talk about pleasure for a little bit. And then again, share with you the deliciousness I have cooking up for you, and then to have some time for some Q&A as well before we end up today. So pleasure. What I want us to understand is that pleasure is an expansive definition. So pleasure is physical, and tomorrow we're diving into physical pleasure, the bedroom stuff, the sex stuff. But pleasure is an emotional experience. Pleasure is a spiritual experience. Pleasure is when you're in alignment with your values. Pleasure is being able to express your no's as comfortably and easily as your yeses. Pleasure is fun, it's joy, it's turn on, it's money, it's 88, feeling all of our 88 keys. There's pleasure in chaos. There's pleasure in freedom. So pleasure, it's not just your clit. It's not just an orgasm. And so when I'm talking to you about pleasure and doing pleasure differently, I think that is one of the things that I bring a little bit different with pleasure, is this very expansive way of looking at it. It's not just the five senses, this incredible sheepskin rug that brings me so much pleasure, my blunt that brings me pleasure, right? There's so many ways to define pleasure, but I really like that aspect of looking at pleasure, from authentic self-expression, because when I talk about pleasure as being in alignment with your values, I think one of the ways that we cut ourselves a million times over is when we deny ourselves the pleasure of authentic self-expression. And it's like this double cut, because we deny ourselves authentic self-expression most often because we're afraid of rejection, being shamed, having something taken away from us. But when you deny yourself the pleasure, you cut that, you give yourself a little cut of your pleasure, and you give yourself a cut of your authentic self-expression. And so the brain is such an asshole. It will tell you that the cost of being authentically self-expressed is not worth it. But the truth of the matter is the gain of being authentically self-expressed more than outweighs any potential cost that comes with it. And so pleasure, being an authentic self-expression, is one of the most deepest aligned pleasures you're ever going to feel. And why is pleasure so essential? Why am I going to harp about pleasure? Well, I know I'm preaching to my choir here in many ways, but perhaps some of this will open a new avenue and frame for you to look at it through as well, too. You know, pleasure is the antidote to the lifelong conditioning that we've received to stay small, to be not in our power, to be under earning, to have fewer rights. Like, when you are in pleasure, you are a human that is resourced to ask for more. So pleasure is essential because we've been purposely cut off from it as a way of disempowerment, as a way of not being resourced, because unresourced humans are easy to control. So pleasure is the antidote to all of that conditioning, all of that control that is in place to smash the patriarchy and the systems of oppression that keep us back. You know, Audre Lorde, the quote, "You can't undo the master's house with the same tools he used to build it." We cannot change this world by continuing to live the same pleasure void lives, where pleasure is reserved as a reward, where pleasure is saved for later at the conclusion of a certain amount of productivity accomplished, right? Pleasure is the golden thread that we all need to be weaving through every moment of our life, not neglecting it. And it is our birthright. We are wired for it. Literally, our physical bodies are wired for pleasure. They are wired to feel pain too. This is the both and. I'll talk to you a lot about the dulce, the sweet both and. You are supposed to feel pain, but your body is wired for fucking pleasure. Anatomically, there are structures that exist only for pleasure. And so that's why I say when it's your birthright, I say it this way. And so why is pleasure essential? Because your body is wired for it. You've been disconnected from that wiring. Let us reconnect it and watch what fucking glows. Like, let's just imagine that beautiful metaphor that never even occurred to me till now. Two electrical wires that are disconnected, you put those fuckers together and the glow that happens, you go from darkness to full glow, right? So if you imagine that so much of our conditioning has come and snipped our wires, pleasure is the golden thread that comes and weaves those wires back together, allows that glow to illuminate. So powerful, so necessary. And as I've been saying this whole time, like, collectively we take each other higher. So I call it the shiny people theory. When I shine, you shine. We shine higher together. So another reason why pleasure is essential, our pursuit of it is essential, is because it is one of the avenues for our collective glow up, for us all going higher, because I want a more peaceful, loving world for us to live in. I believe that is possible. I also believe that we need to take different actions, like I was saying before, to get different results. And we have to think a different thought to take a different action. I thought I taught you guys about how emotions or thoughts preceded emotions. But what I neglected to mention during that section is how from our emotional state, we take action. If we're in an emotional state of fear, anxiety, shame, typically we can't take action. We'll get very stagnant in that space. So being able to be in pleasure, it's a space of action. Like, we want to see a different world, we need to take different actions. Well, to take different actions, we need to have different thoughts. Well, the thought that pleasure is essential, that's the different thought that needs to be adopted, that pleasure makes you shine. And pleasure is resilience, because again, humans, to tell you that you are going to live a hardship-free life because you've made six figures is a fucking lie. To tell you that you're going to live a hardship-free life because you met the partner of your dreams and got married, it's a fucking lie. To tell you you'll have a hardship-free life for any reason would be blatantly lying to your face right now. So accepting that hardship is part of the beautiful fullness of the human experience. One of the things that moves us through hardship is resilience. Pleasure, the golden thread of pleasure, is resilience. Pleasure will support your resilience. So these are all of my very convincing reasons why pleasure is essential. And I could tell us, and we all know many ways in which, like, we avoid pleasure, like what I would call the pleasure pitfalls, where we save it for later, where we want to do more versus be more, where we think it's not important, where we reserve it only for these very particular conditions, where we actually might think that too much pleasure would lead to addiction, would take us to the excess, or that it might separate me from the people that I love. Because if I'm over here in pleasure and my people are very truly suffering, right? Now I'm not in with them. How dare I? And again, my defense, pleasure doesn't mean not being in a particular emotional space. Pleasure means using a set of tools, a beingness, an energetic fuel to move through all states of being, to accompany all states of being. Support, right? And so in terms of how to seek pleasure, right? Like gave you the Trinity as kind of a very tangible tool to play with the mindset of delusion and narcissism. Well, how do I be a pleasure seeker then? And this is one where, again, it's a both and. Everything I teach is a both and. At the end of the day, you'll hear me say that a bazillion times over. But a mindset, making the decision that you are going to reconnect your pleasure wires. You know, one of the things that I had in my notes about mindset that I didn't cover because there's just so much content, not enough time, is like behind delusion and narcissism, the decision. And I teach a whole month program, right? Vitamin D, the daily decision, is a powerful program I run because of the decision component in the mindset thing of deciding and redeciding and deciding over and over again, right? Because your asshole brain will come and undecide at night while you're sleeping. It's so lovely that way. So how do you bring pleasure into your life tangibly? Well, you make a decision from the brain first and foremost, because again, it starts here and then our actions spill out from here. But one of the real ways that, because we're not trained pleasure professionals yet, unless you're someone like me who's been in it and purposely like making it my life's work. And even then I still have to, and this is why I share this tool with you, because I still have to turn to mine. It's like a very tangible list for your brain to see what gives you pleasure. And then to understand that you get to microdose. So there's this, like, my tool to walk away with today is like, you make the decision that pleasure is something that you're going to prioritize. Then you make yourself a resource of what pleasure even looks like for you, so that when you need the pleasure, your brain's going to be an asshole and tell you that nothing will make you feel better. You actually have a resource to come to. And then you use the microdose approach, which is that, and why I always ask you, what can you do to feel 1% more pleasure in this moment? You take the tiniest bit of it. Because again, the asshole brain will tell you nothing will make it feel better. And if you tried to convince the brain into a half-hour breathing exercise, it's going to say, fuck you. I'm determined to be sad over here. But if you ask the brain to do 1% more pleasure, take a sip of your beverage, spend 1 minute doing breathing or 30 seconds doing breathing, watch 5 minutes of a comedy show you like, your brain will typically say yes to 1%. And what's really beautiful about the nature of the way the brain works is when you say yes to 1%, you can say yes to the 2nd percent, and then to the 3rd, and then to the 4th. And now suddenly you've actually increased your pleasure maybe by like 10%, oftentimes by like well over 100%. And it's like you being smarter and sneakier than your asshole brain is the microdose approach. And I really like, again, babes, this is born through lived experience. How did I create this way of doing life differently through mindset and pleasure? How did I create this way of doing pleasure differently? Because I will be a bold bitch and say, like, y'all, I was the one screaming this 1% shit out there on the internet. People knew about microdosing. Of course, I'm not the inventor of that, but like microdosing as applied this way to pleasure. I've been screaming this for a hot minute because I had to find a way. My mentors were teaching me pleasure was the way. I believed them. There was zero part of me that was opposing the information they were transmitting to me, but I was still not being able to put it into effect in my life because my asshole brain would tell me it would be better to go off and die. Right. So it's like I had to find it. And I speak bluntly and dramatically because I'm a drama queen, but also because it's like the fucking truth sometimes. Right. And so I had to find these ways to play with my brain, to play with my state of being. And I found that the microdose approach really works well. Almost no brain that I've found can resist 1%. And once you've got out on the 1% train, then it changes. And that's where you see these big shifts too. Also, the 1 degree shift is a theory. It's a very powerful theory that like the biggest changes are made through 1 degree shifts, not through huge leaps and bounds. And you know, I'll play with both energies. I will tell you that I will collapse your time frame and quantum leap you. And I will also tell you to go at slow snail pace, 1 degree shifts make the difference. And this is that dual say both and. There is a magical cocktail of the both and here, where both of those realities get to be yours. Permission to go at the slowest of slow paces that you need to be. I had to give myself so much permission to be a snail in this industry of big, glowy, showy bitches. And I also give myself permission to quantum leap in delusional ways. It's both and. So today, right, what I want you to walk away with is understanding that audacious self-expression, you being the source of your experience, those things combined are going to give you the capacity to glow the fuck up in ways that you couldn't have even begun to imagine prior. And that mindset and pleasure are going to be the tools that help you consistently every day, even if it's just 1%, make that degree shift towards your glow up, towards your delusional goals, audacious goals. And that I can guarantee you. I can't guarantee you quantum leaps, but I can guarantee you that your 1% investment in your mindset and your pleasure every day will transform your fucking life. And that I know to the depths of my being. Listen, I'm also going to be so bold and so blunt as to say that I know to the depths of my being that spending time with me in my containers, whether they're these free ones, but even more so in the ones where you get to spend more than 3 days with me, where you get to be an intimate container with me, they fucking change your life. And this new program that I'm about to share with you, one of the most beautiful experiences for me from the CEO perspective is how deeply faithful I am about that reality of it being such a transformational experience that I'm in the both and. I'm okay to build it in the smallest of snail paces. And I also know that this shit is going to be so explosive and like impactful. It's going to go places I can't even begin to imagine, sitting right here telling all of you for the first time about it. And I'm so excited to have you all be the first people that I share this with too. And it's just been, like keeping the secret and holding it in has been such a fun way of teasing myself and edging myself. So drum rolling it. I'm so excited to announce to all of you the Glow Up Collective, sex, life, and business coaching for the whole human. And what it is it's a 12-month experience of high touch mentorship with me and transformational coaching with me. That beautiful both and of getting to learn next to me and learn from me. Because I know that, like I said, you guys are some fucking high achieving humans on this call. And this space is for the thought leaders, the visionaries, the way showers, the change makers who want to do life in a different way, in a whole messy human kind of way. And that want to be accompanied by a deeply supportive siblinghood and community led by moi, your King Daddy Rainbow Stallion, legendary Glow Ho, Agent of Sunshine. And really, this is the Glow Up Collective. This is the place where I'm going to be pouring out my heart and my soul and my glow as I look at where my trajectory is taking me and how I want to spend time with people and how I want to spend time and open up containers for my clients. This is the sweetest spot besides my one-on-one high touch mentorship is like the sweetest spot to live in my land. But this is actually even, well, this is even a sweeter spot. I say that's the sweetest spot because this spot comes with my one-on-one mentorship, but like this spot is the sweetest spot because it has the best of everything. Because you get that mentorship from me, but you also get the siblinghood in the community space that is literally one of the most magical pieces that I bring to the equation. So It's the Marissa Magic Depot. It's where you can catch any number of trains taking you to your greatness. And again, the last mastermind group coaching space that I entered, it was that I started was very specific. The Glow Up Mastermind was a high ticket sales mastermind. And I loved what we created and we're doing in there. But I also love coaching the whole human. So that opening a space where you can bring to me any of the things that you want supportive in your intimate life, in your, and again, leadership life, right? Like you don't have to be a coach to be in this space. You need to be someone who wants to progress the earth, that you have a way of looking at things. You want to change things. You want to shift paradigms. You have a vision. This is that space for you to support you in that. It's a soft landing pad for your weirdo self. Babes, I was a fucking outcast. Or so I thought, right? I felt like an alien in a strange land for so long. And one of the things that has changed my life so powerfully is finding community. Like I said at the beginning of the call, my year-long program that I was in, having that community for 3 years, watching other humans through their trajectory, getting to have mine, like that piece of getting to be in a place of seeing the other weirdos, getting to talk about the fact that I want to be like the best madam of all time with the brothel, talking about the fact that I have some really like strange thoughts around narcissism. Or even like some of the trauma, capital T trauma that I've experienced in my life. You know, I'm going to be sharing in the Glow Up space some very non-traditional takes on why those experiences occurred in my life, what I think about them. And so this is a lot, like I said, a soft landing pad for those of you who wave your freak flag and haven't found fertile earth to plant it in. Come plant your flag in the Glow Up Collective with me. And it's also a powerful launching pad for your greatest self. Not only is it a soft landing pad, but it's a fucking powerful launching pad. Because you will hear me preach self-responsibility. Your mindset creates everything. Another one of my coaches is in this call. I brag and support that, like, it gets to be this beautiful give and take, right? But one of my coaches on this call, you know, it's like, they are my launching pads for my greatest self. We don't do this in exclusion of other people. Like, we cannot do it alone. Yes, you are responsible. You are the source. And also you can't do this by yourself, right? So this community as a launching pad for your greatest self is one of the most powerful aspects of it, because when you get to be a freak and loved and applauded and uprighted and seeing that you're actually not so much of a freak whatsoever, because everyone else in this community is freaky like you too, then you can have, that gives your system the safety to fly, to be like a fucking rocket launch, right? And go to atmospheric places. So very like brass tacks for those of you who are the detail hose. And like, I love all of the different kinds of buyers we are, right? To just talk frankly about that. There's some of you that know you want in this space purely on my transmission. You don't give a fuck when the calls are. You don't care how many calls are there with it. You just know you want to be with me. You want to play in this land with me. You are supposed to be here. For all of you, I'm going to drop a link right now. Which was not in my plan, but I just made it in my plan because I was like, wait, this is a great time to drop this link. So there's the link right there, bit.ly/earlybirdglow. If you already know, like, you're like, you don't even need to tell me another thing. You had me at, I have a new offering. But for all the detail hoes, because I'm a detail hoe, it's like, yes, I like that. And I want to know all the details. Some of the details of the Glow Up Collective are that there will be 2 coaching calls per month, offering one-on-one coaching in a group setting. The calls are the first and third Wednesdays of the month. the specific call times, there's 4:30 a.m. Eastern is one of them, 4 p.m. Eastern is the other. So it hits all time zones. Of course, calls are recorded and there's replays if you can't come to them live. What I really, really love about this format, the one-on-one coaching in a group setting, is that you have both the opportunity to have your one-on-one needs and support addressed. But it happens to me every time, and it just happens collectively every time that I know this to be true. You oftentimes get more powerful coaching watching the other siblings and what they bring to the space because of the layer of distance. You're not in the hot seat. And that lets your nervous system receive the information a little bit differently. And oftentimes you have a more powerful or more an aha moment that's more penetrative. Anytime there's an opportunity for sexual innuendo, I'm going to like it. Then if you're in the hot seat where your nervous system has just a little bit of like alert for what might come down the pipeline, right? So the magic of the group coaching container is that you get to go higher through each other's coaching, but you also have that opportunity to have the direct one-on-one support as well too. So I've set up the container very specifically, and this is the container now that's been born out of me facilitating many containers and seeing what is the thing that provides the most impact for people, what's going to move the needle the most. So every element of this that I'm creating and putting in here, it's very specific and very purposeful for your greatest glow up. Additionally, we're going to have a private Facebook group for more coaching support between the calls, for the siblinghood in the community. This is a beautiful place where siblinghood and community thrives. Hive mind support. So I'm a language hoe, I'm a wordsmith. I reject this mastermind term, even though I use it to both ends. Even when we change it to mistress mind, it's so fucking gendered. I don't love the gendered terms. And I also think that the coaching industry has co-opted that term and taken it away from the essence, which is a mastermind was a collective grouping of minds working to solve one issue or problem in front of them. And what we've done in the coaching industry, we call something a mastermind, but we have it still very one directional. Here's the coach, here's the clients. The clients might operate in terms of like giving each other a few ideas or whatever, but it's really like the energetic direction is that it's towards the coach. And what I want for us in the Glow Up Collective is a hive mind, that our collective brain power takes each other higher. So that's the siblinghood that I'm fostering and creating here for us too, is that this is not just a space where you come in and come get Marissa Magic and are looking for that unilateral or however the laterals go here direction, but that we are a hive mind, that I'm a bee steward, a beekeeper. The one, the unity, that is all bees strive for. They are the most incredible example of the hive mind. And what I know is that the Glow Up Collective, we are like a force of nature that is going to go change the fucking world together. And so our hive and the way that we interact together is for our collective, our glow up, right? Keeping that buzz and that hum going and that energetic pulse through the world. So we have the Facebook group for more coaching support, siblinghood community, hive mind support. Also, I'm so fucking excited to announce that I hired for you all the most incredible support coach, Sonia McKaiser. If you don't know who that bitch is, go look her up. But she is like delicious, warm honey. Whether you like it in your cup of tea or smoothed all over your body and someone licking it off, she's that version of honey. Whatever your favorite version of honey is, that's right? One of the beautiful one in a space like this is because hive mind. When you hire a coach, I look at it as renting a second brain. So in this container, you're renting two brains. The second brain, it's a fucking yummy brain over there. In live, the I'm back. It disappeared. Will someone tell me in the chat where it cut me off? Because there I was like chatting away and thought that like I just touched the wrong window and it left. Have I told you yet about the incredible, unique thing that I'm doing that no one else has done yet with the Telegram channel? Okay, so we have our fabulous support group or support coach Sonia in our Facebook group, right? But addition to the Facebook group, and I'm fully borrowing this from that year-long program that I was in with Melinda Alexander. We're gonna have a Telegram channel called Get Naked, Get Free. And we're gonna be able to share imagery there that is not safe for Facebook, that Facebook would censor. And this is not a porn channel, but what it is that when you are authentically self-expressed in your naked skin, powerful fucking transformation comes in. I have 3 years of experiencing this in a collective through this other element of this last program. And it's one of the most exciting features one of the things I'm most excited about to bring to this program because of what I know it did for me and the other 400 participants in that other program. This is the way we're not coded at all. So this is some radical shit. I might be losing people with this one right here and I'm down for it. If this makes you walk out the room, I support you, I love you, and also fucking come back in when you're ready. And there'll be a day where you're ready and I'm gonna be here for you. Because being able to be in non-traditional spaces, authentically self-expressed spaces where you get to see yourself, see other humans. Before 2019, I had never even seen another pussy. I had seen my own pussy. I had held the mirror up. I had done the woke women's work. But before I did creation with her, I hadn't seen 200 pussies. Right? Like we are not, and this isn't necessarily that you would ever even show your pussy in this channel. You might never even show a nipple in this Telegram channel. But the uniqueness to have a space where we can share with each other this way. Also, I mean, real talk, there's some body image shit that almost every single one of us deals with. And in this space where you have the opportunity to get naked and get free, the metaphor of what I mean about get naked, get free, it's not just about taking off your clothes. It's about being naked in your own mind, free from your own body dysmorphia. And some of the ways to do that is to see yourself, right? And so one of the most powerful experiences I had in that program, again, was this chat thread where we were able to have naked pictures of ourselves exchanged, witnessed, uprighted. So that's going to be one of the elements of this program. And again, with this program, babes, this is why it's one of the most exciting offers of my heart. And I've been semi-public around it already, but like, you know, I'm a sex worker and this is a sex positive friendly space. Like this is a space where we get to talk about the things that we don't talk about. Marissa Tells All is my Instagram handle. I tell all, but I still get scared to tell all. I still get shy to tell all sometimes. But this container, I'm not holding anything back. So if you want to hear Marissa telling every last little bit of everything, this is the space to be. And this is why I purposefully am creating these channels and these spaces, because I know that if this kind of freedom has been challenging for me to accomplish and achieve, and how critical community has been to doing that, then it is to me one of my like soul obligations to facilitate and create more of that community. Also, it's very fucking selfish. Then I get to come play with you all too. So all that is to say is that another feature of this is private Telegram channels. We'll also have a channel for blatant self-promotion. Like I said, you have to be your hypo. I think that that can mix the energy in our group space a lot. And yet I want all of you to be buying from each other. I've promoted some of you already on this call. I'm a person that is here that says the more you self-promote, the better for everybody. So we're going to have a place there to be blatant self-promotion host too, right? This is doing life, sex, and business differently, life, sex, and career differently. If you work for a business, I want you to promote your business too. You know, not as your entrepreneur, but like, what is the corporation you work for? Come tell us who you are, what you're doing, what your mission is in the world. So shameless self-promotion, we're going to have a space for that as well. One of the things I really want to honor and give myself permission for, and give all of you permission for, a class above the class moment, is that in January at a masterclass that I gave, I talked about a program that I was going to launch called Audacious Ascension. And that it was going to be a year-long group experience. And every month I was going to do a new program. And this is that program essentially. But what I'm not going to do is promise you that every month I'm going to do a new program, because class above the class, it's a lot of burden to put on yourself as an entrepreneur. I think that there's so much power, and part of the ways that I am learning from my mentors to guide myself in my own entrepreneurship and CEO-ship, and that I want to channel to all of you too, is the permission to be in rhythm with yourself and permission to follow inspiration too. So what I found is that in January, I said I was going to do that. February and March, I had all of the juice to put out programs, and I put out 2 phenomenal programs. And then came April, and I had such an intense, well, what feels like to me an intense travel schedule in April, that I didn't have the extra juice, energy, inspiration to launch another program. And I could have felt really guilty about that. I could have said, oh, good thing I didn't launch that Audacious Ascension program. I'd be fucked now, or any of the things that we would say as entrepreneurs. What I said was, oh my God, this is such an amazing noticing and learning. So the next time I throw a program or launch a program, what I want to say is there are going to be bonuses coming down the road. Can I say that there's one every month for you? No, that wouldn't be a service to me. It wouldn't be a service to you. It would leave you disappointed in me, and it would leave me striving to give you something that wasn't from my real most inspired pussy juice. Right? And so what I can tell you about this program is that there will definitely be bonus courses. Everyone who enrolls gets access to my Everything I Touch Turns to Sold course, which is fucking phenomenal. Throughout this 12-month journey with me, there will be courses on mindset, sexuality, business. There's going to be bonus virtual gatherings, PJ parties, little mini retreats, virtual retreats. There's a couple books that I need all of us to fucking read. Even if you're not a reader, you listen to it, whatever. So I'm going to have a book club, a couple book clubs during the year. There's going to be a very dynamic community for all of you. Those are like the specifics of what it is, like what you get details wise: Zoom calls, Facebook group, Telegram channel, bonus courses. I really want to impart to you, this is a human, like the culture of what you're stepping into with the Gleaux collection. It is a human-friendly culture. So that means that all races, nationalities, genders, sexual identities, religious identities, all of those are welcome here. All of those are fostered here. All of those are being purposefully cultivated and called in by me. The more diverse a community we have, the more glow up we get to have, the more I consider my job well done. So that is one of the cultures I am fostering here. I'm also fostering, and I'm saying this because, again, I used to not give myself the permission. I used to feel like it would be scarier to create exactly what I wanted, and that would exclude people. But I just want to tell everybody exactly what you're stepping into. If you love it, you love it. If you don't, there are other beautiful supportive spaces for you. This is a plant medicine and cannabis friendly culture. You already know that. I've held up my blunt a bunch of times. I totally am here for all y'all sober folks too. So I really respect sobriety. I will filter through my own states of sobriety as you watch me and journey with me as a whole human. I have many, many thoughts on sobriety, addiction, all of these things. And also, this is a culture where we're going to talk about plant medicine, whether that's cannabis, mushrooms, different psychedelics that are not plants, right? Different derivatives. This is a friendly culture for that. This is a place where we can plant our freak flags freely, babes. Again, these are not things that we talk about freely and openly. And I've had the private discussions with more than one of you on this call about our usage of these medicines. And how interesting it is to me how we've had those so secretively, or still say, oh my God. And yes, there is a legal aspect to it too. So, not discounting that, but really saying this is a place, again, you get to be your full, authentically self-expressed being. In that realm too, this is a sex positive and sex worker friendly culture. I celebrate all forms of sex positivity and sex work, and all of that is welcome here. One of the biggest edges that I'm pushing into right now is my deep desire to have a brothel. I've said that in appropriate spaces safely before, some of you who have done sex coaching with me, this is not a new thing. And I actually said it on my public Facebook page last week. And I'm pushing into that, but this is going to be a space where I'm going to be sharing a lot about my journey with sex work and what that looks like. And I will say that I've had multiple people come and ask me how to be a hoe, which is funny because I actually haven't done all that much sex work in my life. But what I know is that I represent safety and freedom for people. I was at a retreat last month and I hugged one of the participants. And as we released our hug, she looked deeply in my eyes and she told me that I smelled like safety and freedom. And it's one of the biggest compliments I've ever received. And it deeply explains to me why someone would come ask me how to be a hoe, right? Because I'm a safe landing spot and I'm a place that represents freedom. So you get that permission. This is a collective where we represent all spectrums of beingness. We celebrate all spectrums of beingness, and all spectrums of beingness are welcome here. And I want to be very specific and verbal in naming that, because I've also stepped into containers where I've had to ask my coach, is my suicidal ideation safe here? i.e., are you going to freak the fuck out if I bring that to this space? Is my hoeiness accepted here? Can I tell you that I'm a sex worker, and can you receive that without shaming me? No shade to the coaches who can't, because we are all our own humans with our own conditioning. But there are some people with very deep conditioning that is not in alignment with mine, right? So I say that for you to know exactly what you're stepping into, for people to know this, what kind of safe space this is. And also it might not be the safe space you want to play in, but it might definitely be the safe space you're playing in. And I would hazard a guess for the latter, because I know there's not many of these spaces. So brass tacks information, the investment for this program is typically $888 in August. That's the price it's going to be. For all of you who are here on the Glow Up today, and that link that I dropped before, the bit.ly/early bird glow, I'm offering an early bird discount for all of you. So the early bird discount is $555 a month. It is a 12-month journey with me. We don't do whole life together in 3 months, babes. This is not the purpose of that container. There are containers that I will open that will be short, where we come in, we get the thing done, and we're out. The kind of mentorship, the type of transformational growth that I'm talking about facilitating and operating with you here, it's not a short journey. So it is a 12-month commitment to journey with me. $555 a month for 12 months, or $6K pay in full. That early bird rate is available to you until midnight on Friday. On Saturday, it's going to go up midnight Eastern on Friday. On Saturday, it will go up to the price at large for the public, which is $669 for June. In July, I'm going to promote it for $777. In August, it will go up to $888. It is rolling enrollment. So if you're not ready to jump in right now, then it will be available in here for you. Obviously, right now is going to be the most financially beneficial time. I'm never going to offer a price for it this low again. All of you who have come into this container, I know it's because you're already intrigued to work with me. So if you're pussy, if your genitals are saying like a yes, what I want you to know is that yes, you are always the most important and safest bet that you could ever make. And when your genitals say yes to you, that's them saying, this is the direction to go. That's the pussy guidance. That's the penis guidance. That's the cock-led intuition that we have been taught to ignore, and is one of those game-changing elements of how to do this whole game differently. So if you're feeling that call, I can't encourage you highly enough to jump in now. But again, I will be here for you when you're ready, and I'm not going anywhere. So it's my utter fucking delight to announce to all of you, the Glow Up Collective, to invite all of you in, to begin this journey with you, to change the world with you, and to be so glowy in community with you. So, oh my God, so amazing. I'm so glad I wrote my note to take the screenshot of who's here, because otherwise I would have fully fucking forgot that. So give me a second to do that little bit of administrative duty here so that I can do our drawing in the right way. Witches and hoes, I love you all so fucking much. So good. Okay, so I got that. The replay watchers, day one words are my glow. my glow. Oh my God, this is making me so fun, like excited and fun, the whole giveaway piece. And that, my friends, is today. Thank you for staying with me. It went longer than I anticipated because I just have so much to say to you. There's so much more I could say. And I'm going to tell you all of it all year long in the Glow Up Collective. But what I would love to do now is give you a little example of a Trinity. And if you've never done one before, that's that Mama Gina tool I was teaching you about during the mindset section today. And invite you all to celebrate with me in my Trinity. And then I'm going to smoke this golden blunt and you all can come off mute, ask me any questions you want, and be together. But like, okay, so a Trinity is a brag, a gratitude, and a desire at the bare minimum, right? You can do multiple brags, multiple gratitudes, multiple desires. And so I brag, babes, this is so fucking fun. Well, first of all, I brag that last June, I had a 100K sales month. And I brag that on June 10th, there was no part of me that thought that was possible. And my coach dared me to do it. And then on June 30th, I did the final 3K sale that hit me over 100K in sales for that month. So I just bragged that, like, a very full circle moment for me of coming into June, offering this offer that is the most like juiciest of me, and being so down for just one person to sign up, but also knowing that this is like way more than $100,000 offer that I have here. So I bragged that. But I bragged that this morning, this is so fucking fun, I had a 25K cash day today to start off hot glow summer and have a $25,000 cash payment drop in to my account. So fuck yes. And let me tell you, that is the tangible evidence of like manifestations coming true. Again, last summer, last June, I set the goal to have a $100,000 client. And in January and February, I signed $100,000 clients. So today was one of those $100,000 clients making a payment to me. But bitches, I am the evidence that this shit is so fucking real and possible. And if little old Marissy over here can do it, you can do it too. There is nothing that differentiates me from you except for me applying some tools that you might not have applied yet, or me applying them consistently in a way that you haven't yet. I can guarantee you that if you take these tools, you apply them consistently over a period of time, you will fucking glow up in ways that, again, the you 2 years ago couldn't have imagined. The you sitting here today still can't quite fathom. So I brag that. And I'm so grateful to be able to be here with you all to share that, because I got the text this morning, right? Like the notification, and it didn't really even filter in. And then like it filtered in that I was doing Hot Glow Summer, filtered in that I was like wanting to teach all of you bragging and share bragging with you. And then I was like, oh, holy shit, I get to go share this with these babes. Like, this is the best. So I'm so grateful to have this community and this space to come and share this with and feel this glow and feel your faces and your excitement for me. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for all of my mentors who have contributed their glow and their knowledge to me along the way, even the ones that have shown me exactly what I don't want to do while they were doing it, like paying them to be like, ew, I don't like this. For the ones that have shown me exactly how I do want to do it, for the ones that have given me new language to use. Like, one of the beautiful things I see is when my clients adopt my ways of saying things. I'm like, oh man, this is so great. Like, and the way that my coaches and mentors have given me language to use and adopt, I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the way that energy works and that collectively our glow up does impact each other. That not only can I change the conditions of my own interior landscape, but I can change the conditions of my exterior landscape. So grateful for that. And I desire 111 humans in this container to start. It's just such a magical angel number. I desire to have a brothel by the end of this year. I desire to have a wait list for my brothel for both participants and providers that is like the place that you want to be, and just everybody is like vying to have their name on a wait list. I desire Jeff Bezos and Vladimir Putin to be one-on-one clients of mine. I want to fuck them back to humanity and take all of their billions of dollars and redistribute it while I do it. And I desire for them to publicly brag that Jeff Bezos takes a whole day of Amazon and does nothing but just puts a big fucking ad on it that says, Marissa Hunter is my whore. Not even Marissa Hunter, because I'm Marissa first name famous. Marissa is my whore. I brag. And for a full day of Amazon, there's no profits, there's no sales. The only thing that you're going to see when you click there is a big ass screen with my picture that says, I brag, Marissa is my whore and she changed my life. That is my desire. I desire, and I laugh, but I'm not even joking, babes. This is what you're getting into. Welcome to Glow Ho Land. I desire for all of us, every single human on this call, to be authentically self-expressed, to feel the deep safety in your body, to go out today and shine a piece of yourself that you haven't shown, or shine it in a place that you haven't felt like you could shine it yet. I desire for all of us to feel so emboldened by our time together today that we go and we put one ripple of this energy out into the world. I desire for all of you to come back tomorrow, watch the replays. I cannot wait for more of your sweet faces. So all that being said, that's like the end of the formal time together. If anyone has any questions, want to share your own Trinity, I'm going to spark this golden blunt for my 25K cash day, baby. And I'll be here with you all until I'm done. And then I'll log off and we'll be here again tomorrow. But you can either raise a hand if you want. I'm going to start looking at the chat a little bit. Fuck yes, Empress Sarzi. I see you with a hand raised. Tell us, what do you have to share, oh royal one?
I just want to brag. Hey, everyone. I'm Empress Sarzi. My good friends just call me the Empress. I also go by Jeff and Victoria Extraordinary. And I have some other names too. Madam Sarzi's another one. I got to meet just Marissa and the Glow Ho and King Cobra and Agent of Sunshine in person. And we got to dress all of her altars. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to say that I worked my butt off this weekend. And while listening to Marissa's call, I took a shower and a bath. I just got out of the shower. And when she talked about 1% more pleasure, and it works. It works.
Yeah.
It works. Like I did that in real time. And I'm laying
So
on
well
my
bribed.
bed, my king size bed that I bought at a pussy rave. So that's my brag. And I'm just, this has been like the most fun webinar, pussy bar I've ever been on in my life. So thank you, Marissa, for all your energy and for bringing it 7 times bigger.
Thank you, Empress, for giving me the 7 times bigger assignment, for glowing the fuck up, for taking your pleasure. I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you being here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Marissa. It's been so fun to be here. Thank you.
So shall all your desires be, or something even better. Also, I brag to you all that I'm going to meet Jeff Bezos at Jeff's Palazzo, Empress's Sarzi's Palazzo in Italy. So we future brag that happening as well.
And Jeff is paying for my palazzo, by the way, and
awesome.
all the renovations. Jeff Bezos, not me, Jeff, but Jeff Bezos is going to be paying for all of that somehow.
Jeffy B. Yeah. We're
Jeffy
making it happen.
I'm just Jeff. First name.
You can tell the Empress and I have a good time together.
Oh, one more thing. I just want to say, Marissa, I love your outfit. Could you model that one more time? Because when I know you talked about that on our
yes,
call,
I can.
And it is so darling. And I just love it.
Woo! This is from Solstice Intimates. It's a really beautiful lingerie shop. I want to put the link here. solsticeintimates.com. It takes forever to get your shit because they make it to order, but it's beautiful and it's all ethical and fabulous. And yeah, like a rainbowy, like sparkly, flowery, frilly, shows my pussy. I didn't flash you guys, but You'll see my pussy in the Glow Up Collective, by the way. That will happen. So more enticement to bring you all in. Heather.
My question's simple. I see you get up for the sunrise almost daily from what I observe. And then I see you have a fabulous nightlife. Are you napping each day? What are you how are you sustaining your energy? What's that like? I want to know.
Well, there's a both and answer there, which is that yes, I am a full fan of napping. If you watch some of my shares from the end of 2021, napping was my business plan. November 2020, I made napping my business plan. I said the more naps I take, the more money I make. In December, I had my first 30K month. And well, my first any K month, but like from implementing that business plan in November, December, the results in December were a 30K sales month. And so I do nap if I want to. I also have a constitution where, you know, I don't need a ton of sleep. I need it when I need it, but I can go a few days in a row with like 5 or 6 hours of sleep. So thus the nightlife. And yeah, so people have almost commented that I've had many people be like, do you sleep? I see you on the internet like 24/7. Like you've commented before I can get there. I brag, I just have this magic. I'm everywhere and nowhere all at once because I'm also nowhere all at once, which my friends will tell me. They'll be like, I haven't seen you in 4 fucking years. Where have you been? But thank you for that question. And I will say, like, the permission to be. We've all been taught to be forward facing from 9 to 5, from the time we were 5 fucking years old, essentially. You know, not at 5, it's from 7 to 3 instead of 9 to 5, right? But we've all been taught that like you need to be this way. And this is the normal way. And if you're not sleeping in those hours and you're not doing productive things during that time frame, you are somehow therefore not enough, not in alignment, something's wrong with you, you're failing to meet the mark, whatever that thing is. And I think part of authentic self-expression, I'm a natural early bird riser, right? I have friends who are very natural late birds, night owls. There's the word for it, night owls. And in that way, like the pandemic was an incredible experience for them because it gave them the permission to live the rhythm of their life in a way that actually was like not being so focused on, whereas before none of that was allowed, right? So I think more so than like, how do I do it specifically is like permission for you to do it how you do it, Heather. And what is your rhythm? And then like embracing that and then finding the places that really fucking celebrate you for whatever your state of being is, right? Loving you so hard. So excited to have you here. So beautiful. Thank you for your question. Revolution Rainbow Rose. Hi, gorgeous. You're on mute. Come off mute. Let us hear you. One moment. It's good. It's going to give me a minute to type this early bird link in. Also, babes, if you're interested, go ahead and DM me. We can have a little voice conversation. Becca, you're still on mute. Maybe you'll be able to come off. Goddess Angel writes, I brag being in circles of women like you and fitting right in with your brothel vibes. Bitch, don't you think I want you as a provider at my brothel? You're on my list. As is Pete. I have got special plans for Pete. Pete is one hell of a human being over here, and I am so grateful to have you on this screen, baby. I love you so much. If you all knew how many plans I had for all of you, you would be very scared and think that I was like some weird stalker on the internet. I've been designing your big glowiest future and you didn't even know it. Becca, are you back with us?
Yes, I'm back. Okay, now
Hi,
I just need to take you off of this thing.
There's too much technology. Okay. Hi. So I would love to do a really quick brag for your desire because I got that I got a download to do that for 40 days. And when I was doing Kundalini yoga at the beach yesterday, with my sister goddess for 3 hours. I fucking brag. Yes. I fucking brag. My sister goddess came 4 hours from Vermont, and she's a priestess, and she was like, let's go do Kundalini yoga at the beach for 3 hours. I was like, fuck yeah. I bragged. And so my brain went for the first 25 minutes, and I'm like, that's okay. All I have to do is Satanama while I blast that light out my fucking crown. I was like, okay. And that's why I have a turban on, because my head hurts. I brag.
Okay.
I brag. I got all the clarity, and I brag. My brain is fucking purging because my heart is blasted open, and I was like purging and yakking from my heart. I fucking brag. So my fear is that it's just in my brain. It's yours. You said it. It's like actually in my physical brain. I brag. So really, I have nothing to fear because the universe already sent me everything I needed, and I've been helping others with it too.
Yes.
All I have to do is just bring the light in and blast it out my crown, and my third eye comes in. So I'm doing it, and it is pleasure for me, and I'm doing pleasure, and I just covered myself in holy oils and just pleasured myself. I brag. It's a combination of all of the things, and I really just love hearing you talk about all of that you do. And my brain literally was like, I want to die. I want to die. This morning my brain was like, I want to die. It's literally like I can feel it like draining from the back of my brain. It's like so my heart started singing, because I was like, am I going to survive this? Like, how much longer is this going to go on? Like, this is bad. And like my heart goes do 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 do. I am holding you, and your brain is it's draining, draining, draining. I got you all along. I'm with you always. My brain is like my heart is holding my brain. I brag. Oh God.
And that's
So
the way
my
it always
brain-
does it, right? Like our brains will be assholes, but our hearts will hold us. And when you return to your heart song, when you return to your essence, your sweet little asshole brain can take the back seat. The heart can come
It's pleasure.
forward.
It's just pleasure.
Yeah.
Like I just need to just be here and just be in pleasure. The pleasures. I was like, I wonder how I can do the radar for the pleasure. Like, where's my pleasure gauge at? I was like, okay, I just need 10% more pleasure. And you said 1%. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I also wanted to get in the shower in the tub. And thank you for permission to the sibling who did that. Yes.
Empress
Because
taking us to places.
I was getting it too. And so now I'm just going to do it, because if I feel like I'm dying, I have to self-care. And through that is birthing the thing that it's birthing. It's literally, it feels exactly like childbirth, which is really nice to know, because I've had 3 and I see like the brain thinking it's going to die and wanting to die. And I'm even getting like the suicidal stuff too. It feels to me like it's literally a trip through the underworld. Oh my God. And you're being boat mastered by your pussy, and like you just got to hang on.
Yeah.
Because it's what it feels like when I go to shamanic trips to hell. It's
What's
the
her
same as when I
name?
birthed my 3 kids.
I forget that wonderful woman who sang the song Jesus Take the Wheel, right? But I love it. Let's replace the lyrics, and it's genital take the wheel. And like our genitals will steer us through any storm. Becca, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Your beautiful heart, your energy, your revolution rainbow in a human. And I'm so grateful for your existence in this world.
So grateful.
Oh my gosh.
So grateful. I love you. Thank you.
Steph, magical mystic, I said, but magical misfit, both can't come off mute. But I want to share your comment in the chat, Steph. And I also want to share, I love my Freudian slip, because one of my favorite children's programs when I was a kid was Jem and the Holograms, and her rival rock star band is called the Misfits, which I always kind of liked them too. Like, yeah, I mean, I know I'm supposed to go on the side of the Holograms because they're the do-gooders over here, but those naughty Misfits, they catch my eye also. Steph says, love how authentic you are. I need a bit more permission slip a la Marissa. Well, we are here to give it to you collectively, Steph. What do you want permission for? We'll give it to you right the fuck now. Share it in the chat, and you ask and you shall receive. And you have a desire to serve women, especially the highly sensitive ones, the energetic, sensual, erotic blueprint ones. Yes. So beautiful, right? For all of us to be in service. That's why I said, I know all of us on this call are people who want to change the world for other folks. And you know what I would say, Steph, is so beautiful is that a lot of humans don't know, rather than just women. I've worked with so many people who identify as men, and the energetic piece is a piece of our sexuality that was just never taught to us. And so I would say almost all of us humans are actually energetic. Maybe not all of us in the bedroom, but that actually speaks us perfectly for tomorrow. I'm going to shut the fuck up so that tomorrow I can share with you all my thoughts on how all humans are shapeshifters. We all have the energetic in us. We all have the kinky in us. This is some very blueprint specific language. If you've never heard what the blueprints are, I'm going to be sharing that with you briefly, as well as part of our getting into how to do life differently via how to do sex differently, audaciously self-expressed. So babes, what a phenomenal time to spend with you today. It is such an honor. Thank you for hanging in with me, and I will see you all again tomorrow. So excited. I'm really excited for tomorrow's outfit too, by the way. It's going to be another Solstice Intimates number that I got. So if nothing else, just come back tomorrow for the fashion, because it will be worth it. Until then, my beloveds, have a wonderful, glowy rest of the day.